This is Lomography's DigitaLIZA
Max.
Of course, I have to mention that Lomography have lent me this demo unit to test out while I'm in Tokyo in exchange for a review. However, I do have to give it back today, and they have no other influence on what I'm about to say, nor have they seen this video before it comes out. So, back to the video. Let's see what's in the box. The solid metal heavy base, the little phone holder. This is the light box, and also integrated 120 negative holder. That goes on here. Then the 35mm film holder sits nicely on top. After that, you've got a few little bonus pieces. This one is a light diffuser for when you want to scan your panoramic negatives or get your sprocket holes in the shot. This is the 35mm mask when you want to get just the shot and avoid any light leakage around the edge of your scan. And this is a 127 mask. Now that seems like an odd choice, but there are a few companies still actively making or actively cutting and re-rolling 127 film, and there's quite a few cute little box and toy cameras that take 127 film, so not entirely surprising that they have a mask in there as well. Could be useful. First thing of note on this setup is the mini copy stand for your phone. So you can take photos of your negatives on your phone and get very quick feedback on which shots were good or not, which is great. I've got the new iPhone 14 Pro and I was really excited with the 48 megapixel RAW sensor could get some great negative scans with my phone, right? Wrong. Although it has a massive sensor and shoots RAW, it has a minimum focus distance of like 13 centimeters, which means it's up here somewhere and the negative ends up taking a small portion of the frame. So that's a shame. But when bringing it nice and low and it switched to the macro lens, I actually managed to get some quite high quality scans, which was quite a nice surprise. Unfortunately, a bit of distortion around the edges because it is a macro lens. And after I converted them really simply with Snapseed for free, you get some quite usable results, especially just for social media, for example. If you're wondering why I'm not currently showing you this, it's because I'm filming with my phone. So, sorry, can't do both at once. Now, on a personal note, I travel most of the year. In fact, I haven't really had a home for a few years. And so I want something that I can pack up very easily. This is quite big and the base is quite heavy, but the base is essentially only there to provide a solid copy stand for phone scanning. And personally, I do DSLR scanning. So actually, I only need this bit. And this they sell as the DigitaLIZA Plus. What's great about this is I've got the light box right here in my negative holder, and as well as taking micro USB charging port, it also uses AA batteries, so I can just have this. And with this piece right here in my hand, I can scan 35mm and 120, and it's got a light box, and that fits in my bag, even breaks down to be a bit smaller. So that's fantastic. So let's look at a few of the options available to us with this scanner. In its current form, it will scan panoramic 35mm or sprocket holes. Grab the little diffuser, put this back, and now we've got a nicely diffused light which almost touches the negatives and gives you great sprocket scans. But if you don't want to shoot that, you want to shoot 35mm without any light leakage around the edge, then I'm going to remove this little diffuser, and in its place we're going to put the 35mm frame right there, and now put this back on top. And as you can see now, we've got a very precise little square for scanning. You'll also notice that it's got level on both directions right here, and a little film advance wheel here, which is really, really handy for getting a film scanned really fast. Now, pretty bad example because I'm using both my tripod and my phone to film this, so I can't actually have a setup as well, but let's have a quick look at the speed that you can scan a few frames of 35mm. Slightly curly film, but that's not a problem, because this actually does a great job of keeping the film flat. The only maybe annoying thing is the little hole here, the entrance. Mostly when you're scanning negatives, you want to be doing it in the dark. And so if they had a slightly wider sort of entry V so you could fiddle it in without looking, that would be a great addition to maybe a future update. Then we just advance the film until it takes up the frame. Like that. Then you've got your DSLR set up with a little trigger, boom, take a picture, then wind on to the next frame, picture, next frame, picture, next frame, picture, next frame, picture. Yeah, it seems like it's a bit of a boring thing to watch, but that has shown you how fast you can shoot, what is that, 6 frames? Yeah, so you can get through 6 frames very, very quickly thanks to this little twiddly boy over here. Now, I think Negative Supply Co. might have been the first ones to add this little film advance knob, and honestly, it's a game changer. It really speeds up the film advance and the scanning method when using DSLR or phone scanning. Now, 120, a little bit slower. We don't need this bit for 120. Open it up, and we're just going to place it down there, and we've got it held there. Now, one thing that really impressed me with both the 120 holder and also the 35mm holder was how flat it managed to hold the film. Lomography especially has some very curly films, and this did a great job of keeping it flat while scanning, so that's cool. And like I said, 120 is a little bit slower, but it's not that bad. You've got it in here, you take your picture, boom. Then you have to open it up, slide it through to the next frame, close it, then take a picture. If they added like a little twiddly boy on this as well, I mean, there's no need for anything else at all on the DSLR market at that point. But as is, it's not that bad. So that's 120 scanning. Now, earlier I mentioned Negative Supply Co. Here's their basic 35mm scanner. Now, some people might say that this is a tool and this is a toy. And it's true that this is made of metal and leather, and this is made mostly of plastic. But their job is the same, and it is to hold the negative flat. So in that sense, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two. The quality is going to come from your lens, your camera, generally the rest of your setup, more than a little thing that holds your negatives flat. Also, there's the price thing. Obviously, Lomography, I'd say most Lomography users are on a sort of budget end of the photography scale. They prefer things that are a bit more fun and plastic rather than high quality machined metal. And the budget is obviously going to be a bit more friendly on this side of the table. So this basic 35mm is around 80 euros. And if you want the one that's got the little knob on it, then you're going to go up to almost 400 euros, I think. Then you want a light box. They are 150 to 400 depending on the brightness and CRI level. And then 120mm holder is also another couple hundred. So on the very low end, if you're buying all from Negative Supply Co., you're going to be paying about 400 for a 120 35mm and lightbox setup. Whereas this, the DigitaLIZA Plus, is 75 euro. And then with the whole base and everything for the phone scanning is 100 euro. So there's quite a significant difference between the two. So back to the product at hand. Pros, it's very light. It has battery-powered lightbox. It has everything for 35mm and 120 in this small package here. And then if you want a nice solid base for a copy stand, you've got it for a few, maybe 20 euros more. It's also got 35mm frame or panoramic. It's got 127 mask for those 127 shooters and a nice little diffuser. What's nice about the diffuser is you could lay 110 film flat on the light bed and scan that as well. And maybe even like a Kodak disc film, you could just put that straight on the diffuser and shoot that as is because they come in their own little personal negative holder. Cons. For me, the little entry hole could be a little bit more wider V, so it's easier to get to in the dark. The 120 holder could be a bit easier to feed the film through. The light box is not very bright, and I don't know the CRI rating. They haven't mentioned that anywhere, but it does the job. Especially at this price point, it's fine. Now, as for the DigitaLIZA Max, the whole setup, this is a very strong base. Like, this is fully metal. And if you're scanning with your phone, this is a very solid setup. You're going to be able to get some very high quality results for a phone. Be careful there, you're not going to get high quality results compared to a DSLR scan. As for portability, obviously with the base, it adds quite a lot of weight because it's fully metal, very solid piece, and quite a lot of size. So that's something to think about, but I think most people are not traveling with their DSLR scan setup. That's quite a niche market, so probably not a con worth mentioning. But there are people like me. Overall, I think that the DigitaLIZA Plus and DigitaLIZA Max are great additions to Lomography's lineup. And as DSLR and mirrorless scanning becomes more and more popular, it's great to have more and more options on the market, as even if you don't get this one, it helps push competition to create better products across the whole market. So that's a win for everyone. This is Norby in the edit. I'm nearly finished the video, but then Cinestill released a new, very, very bright, very high CRI rated light table at an incredibly good price, bundled with the Valoy 35mm and 120 film holders for about $100. That's crazy. I guess that's the exact definition of this competition I'm talking about. So, well done them. Hope to see other companies try to beat that. Back to the video. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I hope that this review mini tutorial may have helped you decide whether or not you want to pick up this product. Please let me know, have you used it already? Will you be using it? Is it something that interests you? Or do you have one of the more expensive options? And do you think that they provide better results than this? Either way, I'm happy to see some comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!